From alpha males to power poses, psychology myths are everywhere, and they're influencing how we approach everything from dating to work and even our personal lives. The truth? 80% of what you've heard is pure nonsense. The real question is, how much of it is actually true? In fact, a 2023 study revealed that 60% of self-help advice lacks any scientific backing at all. It's time to cut through the clutter and separate fact from fiction so you can make smarter choices about the psychology that shapes your life. Myth 1. One of the most popular myths is the idea that you can multitask effectively. This myth comes from corporate hustle culture, where being busy is often seen as a badge of honor. But here's the reality. Your brain doesn't actually multitask. Instead, it switches between tasks rapidly, and this constant switching reduces productivity. In fact, studies have shown that when you try to juggle tasks, productivity drops by up to 40%, APA 2006. So, let's be clear, your multitasking is really just doing two things badly at once. Congrats! Myth 2. Another myth that's been popularized by stage hypnotists and Hollywood movies, like Get Out and Hypnotic, is the idea that hypnosis allows you to control people's minds. In reality, hypnosis is a state of focused suggestibility, meaning it can make you more open to suggestions, but it doesn't give anyone the power to control your actions against your will. If hypnosis really worked like the movies, we'd all be rich, thin, and fluent in Klingon by now, right? It's time to bust that myth wide open. Myth 3. The myth that venting anger helps reduce it comes from Freudian catharsis theory, which suggests that releasing pent-up emotions leads to emotional relief. But the reality is quite different. Studies have shown that venting, whether it's yelling, punching pillows, or ranting, actually increases aggression rather than calming you down. Bushman, 2002. So, instead of venting, try cooling off with a distraction or mindfulness techniques. These approaches help lower anger more effectively without adding fuel to the fire. Myth 4. The idea that repressed memories are always accurate has its roots in Freudian theory and has been further sensationalized by true crime documentaries. However, the reality is that memory is not a perfect recording. It's reconstructive. This means that memories can be distorted and false memories can even be implanted. Loftus and Pickrell, 1995. So here's the cold truth. Your brain isn't a hard drive. It's more like a Wikipedia page. Anyone can edit it, and that includes your own mind. Myth 5. The myth that the Mozart effect can make you smarter originated from a 1993 study that was wildly overstated. The reality? Listening to Mozart may temporarily boost spatial reasoning, but only for about 15 minutes. Nothing more. It certainly won't increase your IQ. So, before you start playing eine kleine Nachtmusik in the womb, remember, your baby isn't going to become the next Einstein just because of some classical tunes. Myth 6. The myth that people have distinct love languages comes from Gary Chapman's 1992 book, but there's no peer-reviewed research to back it up. While communication styles do matter in relationships, the idea of 5 specific love languages lacks solid scientific validation. Instead of relying on a one-size-fits-all approach, the better way to understand your partner is simply to ask them directly what they need. Open, honest communication is always more effective than any theory. So why do these myths stick around despite being debunked? One reason is the narrative fallacy. Our brains love simple, neat stories over complex, messy truths. Myths offer easy explanations that feel satisfying. Then there's confirmation bias, where we only notice examples that support the myth, like thinking, my ex was the complete opposite of me. Finally, there's the profit motive. Myths are profitable. They sell books, courses, and TED Talks. In short, these myths thrive because they fit neatly into our brain's preferences and are reinforced by people who benefit from spreading them. Spotting psychology myths isn't always easy, but there are a few red flags to watch for. First, if you see a claim that everyone does X, be skeptical. Human behavior is rarely universal. Second, look for citations to peer-reviewed studies. If none are provided, it's a sign the claim might not be backed by solid research. Finally, watch out for solutions that sound too good to be true, like change your life in 5 minutes. Real psychological growth takes time and effort, not quick fixes. Keep these red flags in mind to avoid falling for myths. So, what's actually true when it comes to psychology? First, neuroplasticity. Our brains can change, but it takes consistent effort. Whether you're learning new skills or forming new habits, the brain has the ability to adapt over time. Second, attachment styles. The bonds we form early in life do influence our relationships later on, and over 50 years of research backs this up. Lastly, the growth mindset, believing you can improve, does make a difference. Carol Dweck's work shows that having this mindset can significantly boost your outcomes, whether in school, work, or personal growth. These truths have strong evidence behind them, and they can guide you toward real improvement. Now, let's have a little fun with a quick quiz. Myth or fact? Here's a claim. Smiling tricks your brain into happiness. What do you think? Myth or fact? The answer? Mostly fact. This idea comes from facial feedback theory, which suggests that facial expressions can influence our emotions. While the evidence is mixed, it's still promising. So, next time you need a mood boost, try smiling. It might just make you feel a little happier. Next time you come across a psychology fact, take a moment to ask, where's the data? Who funded it? Does it sound too good to be true? Be a skeptic. Your brain will thank you for it. As a wise, though often misattributed quote says, "A lie gets halfway around the world before the truth puts on its pants." Sounds fitting, right? So stay curious, question what you hear, and always look for the evidence behind the claims. Here comes the bonus. One final myth worth addressing is the famous 5 stages of grief. Many people believe these stages, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, apply to all forms of grief. But the truth is, Kubler-Ross's model was originally designed for terminal patients facing their own death, not for everyone dealing with loss. Most people don't experience these stages in a neat, linear order. Grief is much more personal and fluid. It doesn't follow a set path, and it can look different for everyone.